So with Valve constantly making changes to VAC Live, I thought I'd make a more in-depth video going over VAC Live and all the myths and misinformation that people have been spreading. Cheaters tend to be slow when it comes to anything new that Valve does. A couple weeks ago, VAC Live seemed really strong. Using basically any aimbot or aim assist would give you a cooldown. Using RCS or recoil control or bunny hopping or auto strafing was risky. And even just using TriggerBot could get you VAC Lived, whether you had a lot of delay or not. Then there were cheaters who were getting VAC Lived while just using wall hacks or radar. I didn't believe it at first, since cheaters aren't that reliable when it comes to telling the truth, but it was actually true. As we know, VAC Live not only flags inhuman responses, like bunny hop macros or perfect RCS, it also flags based on playstyle. If you're blatantly cheating, especially on a low-tier account, you'd have a higher chance of triggering VAC Live, especially if your account gets reported a lot. This system reminds me of the trust factor system, which I may do a more updated in-depth video on. When it comes to reports, they matter a lot more if your account sucks or is brand new. If you have a top-tier account, reports don't matter as much. And by top-tier account, I don't mean a high Steam level or owning a million games or expensive skins. I just mean your account has a lot of history to it that isn't boosted or fabricated. If your account has been active on Steam for years, and you've played CS and other games consistently, and you spent hundreds or thousands of dollars on your account over the years, then reports barely matter to your account. This means getting your trust factor lowered or getting VAC Lived is far more unlikely and harder to achieve. Not all accounts are equal. If your account is some garbage account you just bought and it's not even full access, then expect reports to tank your account's trust factor within a few games if you're raging. And expect to get VAC Lived even if you're not playing that blatant. If you've ever wondered why some people can blatantly cheat for years on the same account and gain hundreds of reports and yet they still have perfect trust factor, this is the reason. Once your account reaches a certain echelon, your account basically becomes immune to reports. Anyway, back to VAC Live. The same thing applies. Reports cause VAC Live to focus more on you. VAC Live is always there, but it starts to become more strict and trigger happy if you get reported a bunch on a low tier account. So an easy way to help mitigate this is to just queue with people, so at least there are less people in the game who will report you. You'll only have 5 people on the enemy team who might potentially report you, as opposed to having 9 people. If you don't have any friends, then I suggest closet cheating and being friendly to your teammates. A lot of people assume someone isn't cheating if they're talkative and giving out calls, since usually most cheaters are shy and only type in team chat. Now, let's talk about your cheat settings. Your settings do matter, no matter what type of cheat you're using. Whether you're using an internal, external, or DMA cheat, you can get flagged with any of them. VAC Live doesn't care which one you're using, and external or DMA cheats are not inherently more legit or safer than internal cheats. I'd actually say Inuria with closet settings is probably safer than some external or DMA cheats. You can use TriggerBot, but you should have at least 150 ms delay on it, maybe even 200. That's about the normal reaction time of a legit player. No, you don't need 0 or 20 ms trigger delay to beat legit players. You should also only use TriggerBot with an op, and not have your crosshair right next to a corner. Don't use TriggerBot with pistols or rifles or scouts. It looks blatant, and anyone can instantly tell you're cheating. Avoid using TriggerBot too much. Keep it to less than 10 kills a game. As for aimbot, you should have a very low field of view, less than 5. And maybe even use dynamic FOV. If you're bad and you need the cheat to do everything for you, then yeah, you can use higher FOV, but use at your own risk. Of course, you should have target switch delay to at least 200 ms, since you don't want your aimbot snapping onto multiple enemies. You should use as much smoothing as possible. Some people overestimate how much smoothing slows down your aimbot. Cheaters tend to use low smoothing since they assume the aimbot will be too slow. It barely slows it down, and the trade-off is it makes the aimbot look much more natural. As for bunny hop or other movement features, just don't use any of them. So now let's finally talk about playstyle, which is just as important as your settings, if not more. You can blatantly cheat and not trigger VAC Live, and you can also closet cheat and trigger VAC Live. You can use aimbot and auto wall and go undetected, and you can only use radar and still get hit. You just have to learn how to play around it. VAC Live is an AI learning system, which is just a fancy way of saying it's based on data. which has been collected from thousands of cheaters and from thousands of legit players. Your playstyle needs to be closer to that of a really good player than a cheater. This means not using only Scout, Deagle, and Op for the entire game. Use shotguns, use SMGs, throw nades and utility, and most importantly, actually miss some of your bullets. If every bullet you shoot hits an enemy, that's a red flag and something VAC Live picks up on. This is why I say you should avoid using TriggerBot, since with TriggerBot, you'll never miss. Some of your shots need to go into nothing. You're not Arnold in Commando where every bullet you shoot needs to hit someone. Don't pre-fire everyone, spray through smokes, whiff shots, and use guns that you can spam, like the Negev or P90. If you think you're above using a Negev or shotguns, please humble yourself. You're playing in Premier or matchmaking, not in a major. If you follow my advice, you can still drop 30 or 40 bombs every game and avoid VAC Live. You should be careful since the cooldowns are pretty harsh. It starts at 20 hours, then 7 days, then 31 days, then 6 months. After the 6 months, apparently it resets, but that's still a long time. If you know of any cheaters who have been semi-raging with meme sense for the last month and not getting banned, just don't worry about them. Let them be monkeys and chimp out while they can. We all know that won't last forever, so get used to the future where AI is judge, jury, and executioner. Overwatch is gone, so fooling gold novas is a thing of the past. Back then, you just had to buy a knife and let yourself die a few times, and that was enough to not get banned. Now we have to trick AI, which isn't that hard since it just looks at data and patterns, and it makes mistakes. This is also why legit players have been getting VAC Lived, and it's probably why Valve made VAC Live less harsh compared to how it was a month ago. VAC Live was on steroids, but then Valve nerfed it, and it's more lenient now. But it'll probably go back to being strict again. One last thing, if you want to be a smartass and say, actually I'm raging right now in Premiere and not getting VAC Lived, so this whole video is wrong. That's great, Timmy. You're very cool. Yes, I'm aware VAC Live is off at the moment, which is why I'm raging in the background footage. It's going to be turned back on sooner or later. Enjoy it while it lasts.